Matches. It is going to be Fiasco from Team Gravity versus Jocko from ESC. He's the captain of ESC.
That's right. So it looks like they are deciding to bring in the big guns.
And it is going to be a PvP as well. I know how much you love PvP. That's the interesting bit from last weekend. We saw an epic TVT, an epic ZVZ, but we've yet to see an epic PvP.
Yeah, and I think that might contribute to my distaste for that particular matchup. I mean, I don't hate it. I enjoy all StarCraft. StarCraft is great. I enjoy all of it. But this particular matchup is probably my least favorite. And maybe it's just I'm not a big Protoss player, but I don't know. It seems like it doesn't seem volcanic or eruptive enough for me. It's like it seems like it's very methodical play, and perhaps I've just not seen the right games. So if you think that I am full of it, feel free to PM me or tweet me at some replay of some game that is the best PvP in the world, and I'll check it out and probably be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. How have I not liked PvP for so long?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the players. I'm not a huge fan of ZVZ,
Sure.
but I mean, there are ZVZ matches that are just absolutely insane. Same with anything. But we are ready and into this next match. And in the lower right-hand corner, wearing the green Protossy pants, it is going to be ESC Jocko.
And in the top left-hand corner, representing Team Gravity and playing a very unique Gateway, Stargate, and Robo style the previous game, it is Fiasco.
So, I mean, really anything goes when it comes to PvP here, because as I never actually set the score last game, but it is 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
There's such a huge variety. I mean, Twilight Council play has been pretty big with Blink, as well as straight into DTs. They're just even fairly standard 3 gateway robo expand, 1 gateway expand. We'll just have to see what we see here. But this is I would call this a medium-sized map.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. And I have enjoyed the mind games. I think we did see one game. This is a few weeks back now, where it was a PvP, and they both kept hallucinating in units to freak the other one out, and it worked. Like they were both kind of misreading the situation, and that ended up being kind of a comedy of errors of sorts. So that one, I think, has been one of my more favorite PvPs just because of the mind games. I love the mind games, when you put down a building so that your opponent sees it and then cancel it, and so they get the wrong idea of what you're doing, or hallucinated units with your army to make it seem much more bigger than what it actually is. Those type of things just crack me up. I think they're great.
Both players being very cautious and scouting around with their probes here to check for any proxies. Fiasco checking out his entire base. Jocko checking out his entire base, as well as the natural expansion, which is a fairly commonplace for 2 proxy gates, but it's not something we've seen all that much in SC2CTL.
No, not the proxy gates so aggressively anyway. I think that we've seen them in closer proxy locations for sure, but not really in locations that are so quite so aggressive, not really right into that natural. Usually it's in a third base, or maybe at the mid-map positioning, or somewhere around there.
Cyber cores are equally timed for both players. It's going to be a gateway, cyber, possibly expand. We'll see what follows down on this, but both players looks like 2 out of each gas, so going to be a gas advantage for Jocko, as Fiasco's got 2 in each. So potentially a Stargate from Jocko and Warpgate Mothership Core from Fiasco would be my guess. Quick Stalker looks like from Fiasco Mothership Core coming down right away for Jocko, but it doesn't look like anyone's banking up any money to expand here just yet.
No, it looks like they're both planning on doing a bit of some early aggression to the opposite players. So
and Fiasco even chrono boosting out that Stalker.
Yeah, he's getting ready with that Zealot and that Stalker to try and do some damage, and following it up with the Twilight Council, too.
Well, he's even using that Stalker again to check for any proxy pylons in there.
And, I think that's a good use for it. You never know when those are going to come in, and you got to be aware of them so that you don't get surprised by what you see in your base.
And Jocko's sending across his Mothership Core right away, as well as the Zealot and the Stalker, and Yeah, oh my gosh, both players have pretty much the same idea. As the units are going to meet in the middle of the map, this Zealot is going to start whacking away at this Stalker probe there as well. So, ooh, yeah, both players wanting to get some aggression down, but this Zealot is going to be taking a lot of damage, and that is going to be going down. So that's going to be a big advantage for Fiasco.
Yeah, but Jacko did use that Zealot to kind of get his units out of there to get them on the retreat path and hold up the units for Fiasco a little bit. But Jacko's Mothership Core is continuing en route to try and get some aggression done. Blink coming out of that Twilight Council as well.
Yeah, but there's 2 Stalkers there. They're going to be targeting down that Mothership Core right away, and he's going to get a recall barely off.
Ooh.
But you know what that means?
And
He's not going to have
time.
Photon Overcharge now.
He is not, but he doesn't really have any energy on that.
You know, the theme of PvP
Jacko
is definitely just kill your opponent as fast as you possibly can.
Oh my gosh, great time warp, and Jacko moves his probes back through the time warp, getting even more kills. So suddenly Fiasco is doing a lot of damage here. But Jacko is using those probes aggressively, trying to get targets or direct fire to them as opposed to the Stalkers.
Mothership Core does go down, but I mean the lead is definitely still in favor of Fiasco. Looks like he has 3 Stalkers to 1.
Yeah, well, 2. There's 1 in the back there as well. So those Stalkers are being reinforced with more Stalkers, but the Blink is finishing up now for Jacko. So if he can get some Stalkers and keep them, he could potentially have an advantage when that finishes. Mothership Core is continuing to build up energy, still doesn't really have enough to do anything.
A lot of probes going down now as Fiasco is target firing them, staying out of the range of Jacko's Stalkers. 2 Zealots or Sentries get sniped down as Force Field just barely comes out. So Fiasco doing a great job here, but he's taking a few extra hits on those Stalkers.
Yeah, and Fiasco's controlling these very well. When you just attack move, they're going to automatically try and focus on those probes. He's got to click specifically on those Stalkers in order to get any damage out, and that he's been doing very beautifully.
Problem is Jacko has hardly any income and just goes with GG because he lost so many probes in that. So that's a very quick game. Like I said, it seems like the theme of PvP lately. I mean, if you don't like it, that's great because the games aren't very long. It's just go out and kill your opponent as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we'll see the kind of clipped aggression in the early game where you get a couple of Stalkers or a Void Ray, or not a Void Ray, a Zealot, a Stalker, Mothership Core, that kind of thing. Go over, try and get a little bit of aggression done, but ultimately you're expanding behind that, and that's just a delay tactic to try and get more economy out. In this game, all we saw is, nope, we're just going to go for it. That's what's going to happen.
Well, they both had the same kind of plan, but it seemed like Jacko was just a little bit behind because he went for that Blink, which is, 2 less Stalkers. Minerals wise. So we are